All right, all right. Hey guys, let's get into part two. If you didn't see part one, there is a free link in the description box. I felt like we were not quite done with this one, and so let's get to this. You can watch part one and then bounce back over here if need be. But we were just now kind of like getting to the juicier aspect of what comes next. So let's get over here into this the other character because I want to take a closer look at that Four of Wands being sideways, especially with the fact that we're wrapping things up in between um, this year and next. We've got a decision that's being made by the person that we're calling the Emperor. I'm sorry, I am freezing right now. Just a second. I want just a little bit of extra warmth. Excuse me, guys. It's the excitement of this story. All right, let's take a look and say, tell me about that Four of Wands being sideways. King of Cups, it's probably still sideways, meaning it's not 100% yet. We don't really know how it's going yet because they haven't done it yet, right? They haven't made the decision. They're not sailing away just yet. So this, I would say this is definitely our Emperor character. They got the sharks in the belly. We know from part one, they were really kind of sabotaged, not kind of, very sabotaged by that group of wolves, the wolf pack. And we have him kind of like holding his ship and saying, okay, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to sail away. But again, until he does it, it's not done, right? Until he actually does that, it hasn't happened. We have a Five of Wands and we have an Eight of Cups. Strong energy here of the decision that has to be made. But here's that Five of Wands again. She already doesn't believe it'll ever happen. Our character that I was calling our earth energy person, the wolf pack is kind of right. The wolf pack in part one said, she's not going to, it's been too long. What do you think? You're going to go talk to her and it's going to be all right. He believes she's an empress. He believes she's a soulmate. He believes, yes, she'll talk to me. But in truth, with that Four of Wands being sideways, the question mark here is, I don't know if you've ever walked away from that. And I don't really think that you ever will. So in her mind, what she's transmitting, because remember that Four of Wands was sideways in part one. The energy of this is just never going to happen. This is just a missed opportunity. She's basically chalking this up. And we also had seen that they walked away from the Two of Cups. We could have had it all. They knew it was a Two of Cups, but instead of reaching toward me, they turned their back on me. So we can see why it's like in her mind, I don't see them ever changing. I don't see them breaking away from the wolf pack. In his mind, he's at that point where he's picturing coming toward her. She's picturing him never coming toward her. So these two are on completely different pages. So what is going to happen with him? Nine of Wands, Four of Pentacles in the reverse. That the final bit of wounding that he has carried has absolutely, I think he's overcome it. He's no longer stuck with a kind of toxic and caustic family who tried to keep him stuck here, and he's not beholden to their opinions anymore. He's breaking away from the wolf pack, what I call the general in charge of the family and what everybody can do and think and want and be. He's breaking away from that, even if it means leaving that family behind, that peer group behind. He's become a full-blown King of Swords. Okay, so he's also in a place where he can finally admit, the reasons that I didn't break away before is because maybe I needed the approval of my family. Maybe I kept feeling like I had to do that. He's at the point where he can admit all of that to himself without flinching. Sometimes, when we get most honest with ourselves, that is where our greatest power is. So we see him making a move. So he's come out as an emperor now. He's come out as a King of Cups and a King of Swords, all upright. These are amazing and decisive cards. Okay, so what happens? King of Swords, what are you doing? We see you coming toward her. Ace of Wands. They are all fired up. They're all kinds of revved up. They're ready to turn a page. They're ready to basically live out the life story, the storybook that they've always wanted to. They're ready to do this. They're determined to do this. The Lovers, they are on their way toward her. They are coming home to her. This is what they envision. In their mind, the storybook would be that they come home to her and it's really happy. Okay. He may have to fly somewhere to go see her. Page of Cups. First things first, he just wants to be in her presence, and then he wants to talk. A real long talk, a big old conversation of truth. What are you going to say to her? What have you got to tell her? Four of Wands upright and the Tower. A very simple. This is a marriage proposal. He's not even dancing around with like, hey, I'd like to, see if we could patch stuff up. He's not saying, I kind of wondered if we could give it another try. He's coming in with, there was never a time when he did not want to marry her. And he's owning that. This was a very serious relationship, very, very, very serious connection that was completely put on ice. No feeling on his part has changed. No, like if he had ever said that he wanted to marry her, he meant it. So he's picking up exactly there, but this time saying, but there's no blockages. This time he may be wanting to like literally get married without any more delays, which is bizarre because it seems like he's walking away from, breaking away from the saboteurs, going directly toward her and just opening up that topic of marriage right out of the gate. The truth is he's done with being blocked and the sabotage and the things that made him think, I wouldn't be wanted. There's no way I could be with you. The disapproval of the family was too heavy for me. I didn't know how to go against him. I don't feel that way anymore. I pick you. That's it. This does not feel like there was, in this story, we had no like third party of, other romantic connections or anything like that. There was never a time when his heart was not given to her, but that oppression of the family and more importantly, his inability to kind of like stand up for himself. That's really what was, kind of crushing this relationship and making it impossible. And all of that has been overcome. Six of Pentacles. I mean, it feels like it's very much they have a lot more to talk about, right? They have a lot more important conversations to talk about. And she, in fact, may need to go and sit down and talk with somebody close and near and dear to her heart, somebody important, somebody that's a close confidant, somebody that she can really discuss this whole situation with and be like, okay, you've told me you want to marry me. You told me you're back. You've told me it's you and me against the world. I have to digest this, all this truth you've just spilled. I need to talk to my family member, to my confidant, to my sister. I need to talk to somebody about this whole thing. Let me see. What is she seeking for? Like either support or more conversation. The Star and the Five of Pentacles. What it boils down to is it's kind of letting some reflection, and she has to ask herself this, but she might be bouncing this idea off of somebody else. The amount of pain that she was caused by being left out in the cold. It doesn't matter. Our character had shown up as a King of Pentacles at one point in time earlier in part 1. So this individual that our Emperor wants to marry and is finally breaking away from the saboteurs to come forward with an actual, like, I want to marry you message. He seems to be very sure of what he's offering. And it doesn't say that she or King of Pentacles, he is unsure per se. It's that, can I heal from being left out in the cold by them when they didn't come toward me because of their family? I mean, for me to say, yes, I can marry them, I would have to first have this kind of hurt healed. So how does that happen? Do I give them a chance and it's through giving them a chance that I am able to maybe heal? Is it through allowing them back into my life so they can make things right with me? And will I forget that at one point in time they could leave me out in the cold? This is a big question, I think, to herself. Let me see. What's the message in regards to her being left out in the cold? Because that's a very painful experience. Queen of Cups. The message here says, I mean, it's asking her to ask herself, how does she feel about them? Well, I love them. And she's even possibly saying, and I would have done pretty much anything, right? The seahorse, I thought we mated for life. I thought it was them and me. I thought it was going to be us. But then they didn't stand by me the way I would have stood by them. Instead, I was out here on my own. We got the Hermit card. We've had the Hermit earlier, and at the beginning, I was like, we had Libra and we had Virgo at the very beginning of this story. And there's always been the question, like the wolf pack said, she's not, or he's not going to take you back. You've been away too long because we made sure that you didn't go toward them. So now we sabotage it thoroughly. If you go back to them, they're not going to take you back. The wolf pack was really like jeering, really happy that they think that there's no way that this lover's connection could ever be repaired. And at this point, she herself is wondering, could I heal from something that they weren't there for me the way I would have been there for them? So the next step is for her to think about, okay, in this time that I was out there in the cold on my own, what have I learned? Because she's learned some really big things. There's been this deep, knowledge about herself. And what is the conclusion that she's come to about herself? 7 of Swords. First off, she's lied a little bit about that she was fine when she wasn't fine. She has a way to carry on and tell everybody else that everything's fine when in fact she's maybe didn't even know how deeply wounded she had actually been. Now, she might have also learned that sometimes people can walk around and seem fine when they're not, because she's been able to do that. That may give her some awareness of, well, in this case, she realizes how far she's come because she actually is fine now. She's actually reached a point where she was fine without them. That pain did heal. She healed it herself. She healed it by herself. She used to fake that she was okay, but now she really is okay. She really is happy again. So with or without them, she's happy. So she does not need them to fix anything in her. She's already healed, is what she's coming to the realization of. Okay, so what does that mean? The Emperor and the Hanged Man. I'm not saying that like, oh, so all is forgiven. I'm saying with these two cards showing up, the next step is if she's actually already healed, so there really isn't anything for them to fix in this, because and she might even understand a little bit more that sometimes we act like things are fine when they're not, and that if they were in a very caustic, very traumatizing, raised in a traumatizing household or something like that, they too might have acted like everything was fine, and she may not have known the depth of whatever they were going through. So I do feel like there's this greater capacity to understand not everything is as it seems. However, more importantly, she's healed herself completely, which means there isn't really a, like, you have to pay penance, you have to fix things that are broken inside of me, because in fact, she healed from this. She said, I thought we were a 2 of Cups. I would have been there for them, but they weren't there for me. I was really hurt, but honestly, I'm not hurt anymore. So you can't pull that card. I can't say you hurt me so bad I could never forgive you, because it's like, I'm honestly fine. I healed. So now she looks at it with a little different eyes and says, so maybe the bigger question is, are you an emperor? Are you somebody that I would want? Are you someone that is here to offer me something significant and real? Would I want to say yes to it? Do you have enough to offer me? Do I like what you're bringing in? It's not about like, oh my God, thank God they're back. Now she's evaluating them from a different standpoint. Is this someone that I am attracted to as an emperor? I don't know yet. So she's not saying I can't be with them because I haven't healed yet. That's great for her to think through it and say, okay, I can remove the whole topic of how, could I heal from this? I am healed. The bigger question is, do I think that they're an emperor? Do I want them? I don't know yet. Are they an emperor? King of Swords. Remember, they showed up as a King of Swords. Now we have a feminine King of Swords. And I feel like this is, again, her/him. All throughout this, we've questioned, like it's been hard to say him or her because it doesn't matter what genders anyway. I never care about that in my stories, but it does help to be able to refer to a character as, kind of like some title of sorts just to keep the storyline straight. But in this, they're both such a blend of like the masculine and the feminine energies surfacing sometimes, specifically for her. And I feel like this is her saying, you know what? It's been a big old winding road. I don't think I met the real them before. I think I met a false version of them. I think I met the them who maybe did love me, but they didn't have their confidence yet. So the reason I don't know if they're my emperor yet is because I'd actually have to date them, like really date them for the first time ever. So she's not saying yes, let's get married. What she's saying is, I get it. You want to just pour all your energy into this and just be with me and have me say yes to marry me. I can't say yes to you, not because I'm mad and still hurt, but because no, I need to know who you actually are. You're so sure now you've broken away from something, but I didn't meet the real you before because I didn't know that you were, still suppressed by others. Now that you've just found your own voice and confidence, I need to get to know that version of you, the real version of you, basically. Maybe we are a match, maybe we aren't, but we need to maybe just get to know each other and take things a lot slower. We've got a Knight of Pentacles. We got the King of Pentacles. We're going to go nice and slow. We're going to see. She's not willing to risk. She was the King of Pentacles in part 1, and now she's the King of Pentacles again. I'm not willing to jeopardize any kind of my foundation. She might have moved pretty far along in her career. She could be pretty stable. And it's like, I'm not actually even willing to let them have access or share any of my resources unless I know if they're really somebody that I could see as my partner. I have a lot to lose. They weren't here to build it with me, and I'm not mad about it. And I'm not hurt over it anymore, but I need to slowly get to know them and see if I can build trust with them and see who they really are. So we start one baby step at a time. Hi, I'm so-and-so. Page of Pentacles. I can only give you a little tiny bit. No, we're not getting married right now. No, we can't do that. We have to start one step at a time. All right, what's his reaction to all that? 7 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles. Honestly, it gives a lot of divine energy and a lot of breathing space to say, wow, maybe there's a lot more for me to be learning also as we start to grow into this connection, but I do want this to be long-term. And I think this is a better way to do it. We can see where we match. We can see how to, complete each other. We can see how we could grow together. We could start building something. And that might be the first time, it's almost like she's saying, look, if other people told you who you were and what you had to do before, I'm not having you come into my life and then you have to, be what I need you to be. You need to be who you are. And then we decide if we like each other. I almost think that's the greatest gift she could ever give this person is we need to see who we are to each other. This is a chance to rebuild a relationship. There's no guarantees that this becomes the love forever and ever. It could be, but it's also more like find an identity and grow as that true individual this time around. And then we'll see if we can be together. All right, I'm going to leave that one there. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up.